What is up, Pokemon fam? Today we've got a special video for you here with a special card. It is a base set Charizard, the OG Chase from when I was a kid. I remember when I was here at the mall in Vegas and I opened a pack that I traded with a friend. We both bought a pack, me and him, and he said, "Do you want to trade packs?" And I said, "Sure." And I knew a little trick back in the day because these cards used to have a U shape with the hollow foil, I think over time sitting in binders and stuff. I remember that you could feel the side of a base set pack, fossil any of them, but you could feel the sides of the pack and feel if there was like an arch in between the cards. Like if the card was bending up and I knew, bam, there was a hollow inside. That was before we even thought about weighing packs, which maybe card shops knew about that. But anyway, the reason for this video is because we are going to clean and attempt to restore these creases that are all over this card. Typically I don't wear gloves, but this isn't my card, so I'm not wearing gloves today, or wearing gloves today because it's not my card. So make sure if you're taking card out of a sleeve, I always like to push at the bottom rather than trying to finger it at the top. So let's take a look at it. My very first things I'm noticing here is there is just a lot of weathering and like wear on the card, and there's some small creases there. It's hard to get up on the camera, but like right about where that white dot is right there, there's like a crease there, small one. And then yeah, you can see one right there in the middle there too. The most predominant one though is there's one here, and then there was one down here. That's like the worst one down there. I've seen cards submitted to me that look like this, you know? And unfortunately, I don't think there's much you're going to be able to do about this. You can, like I said, reduce the creasing with the flattening method I mentioned, as well as this pen. So there's this rolling pen here that I have for sale through Kurt's Card Care Kit, and you can purchase these with me. There's 60 shipped. So it comes with the pen, a microfiber, some cotton cloths. It comes with the polish that we'll need to restore this hollow back to a shiny kind of state, as well as the spray, card spray. And this is a safe spray. You never want to use water on your cards, but this is, I think, like an alcohol sort of spray. I'm not quite sure what the secret potion is Kurt has, but it evaporates a hell of a lot better and doesn't damage the cards. Now, you never want to spray the card directly. It always needs to be indirectly through like a cotton swab or something like that. So I guess first thing let's do before we fix the creases is let's go ahead and polish this card. So I'm going to grab a penny sleeve here. When we use the pen to fix the creases here, we're going to want this and this hard surface here. But for the polish, what we'll need is a microfiber. I like to use these types. If you have a really, really soft microfiber of any type, that should work, but you don't want to use any sort of thing that's abrasive because that will scratch the hollow. So we're going to want like an eyeglass cleaner, a clean one. Definitely needs to make sure it's clean, and wherever you're using it, make sure there's not like little pebbles or anything, you know, sharp in there. But first thing we're going to do is let's go ahead and clean the card first before we actually attempt to remove those creases. First things first, let's go ahead and take the card spray out. What we're going to do is we're going to spray the cotton here with our card spray. Just a couple bumps, and we are going to clean the card. We're not going to push hard. We're going to push enough. But before we do that, let's get kind of a better before and after. So I just want to show you here what the card currently looks like, and then we'll dive into actually cleaning it. So there he is. We've got a bump on the corner there. There's not much we can do about missing paint, unfortunately. But the dull hollow, I think we can make that pop back out. And there's little things like this that you want to look out for. See this, there's like a piece of hair or something going on there. That sort of stuff will ding you on PSA. You know, we've got a little black dot there too. We'll attempt to remove that from the yellow part there. And there's also, looks like that's a scratch at the bottom of the hollow there. So not much we can do there. So let's see if we can get some of that gunk there at the bottom. And then at the back here, really, you know, things like this white dot, that might be something on top of it. I don't know if that's actually the paint that's chipped or if that's actually something on top of it, but we'll find out. And there's like a little blue dot there in the middle of the white there. That might be something that comes off too. So certain things like that we'll want to take a look at. For some reason, something's in the middle of that Pokeball too. I don't know, somebody had some dirty ass hands when they were handling that Pokeball. There's a lot of weathering on this card. Like, see that, like those creases there in the middle? I think maybe a session in the humidifier might help reduce those. But that looks like the whole paint has kind of come up. And then there's some black dots there in the bottom there too, that I think, like right there, that might come up. That might just be gunk. So certain little things like that, again, things like whitening, unfortunately, not anything we can do about that. When they invent a blue paint that's the exact same color that can't be detected by PSA, maybe that will change. From my understanding, you know, PSA has microscopes under these cards when they're grading them. So if you try to alter it in any way, they will get kicked back. So don't do that. Trimming and painting a card is a big no-no. But doing what we're about to do is perfectly fine. So a couple more things here I just want to note before we get started. It looks like this corner like bent upwards. So we're going to try to use the pen tool that I have to push that corner down a bit. And yeah, let's see how much we can get this thing looking better. So first things first, yep, let's take the spray we just did. Forgot which side is sprayed. Okay, that side. And we are just going to lightly, we'll start from the middle and work our way out. We don't want to go like that. So that little piece of hair or whatever was on it is now gone. And there's this little dot here. All right. It doesn't look, I mean, it looks like it is kind of coming out, but it's hard to really tell. I don't think that is. But we can try and work it a little bit more. Oh, I thought I saw something come off of it. And then I'm going to just flip the cotton to the dry side. Let me try to work this one a little bit more because I feel like that's coming out. Yep, there it is. It just came out. So there. Bye-bye. So now that's gone. All right. And then we're just going to work the card a little bit more here. So Okay, now let's dry it off. Again, not being abrasive, just putting just a little bit of enough pressure on it to dry the card. Okay, now that we've got the card spray portion of it done, and we've got a couple of those little weird bits off of here, next we are going to use the polish. So this is the card polish that we're going to be using. As you can see, I've used mine quite a bit. In fact, this is my second can. I've gone through quite a lot of polish, but it's basically like a, I don't know how you pronounce it, Carbona wax or whatever, that Brazilian nut. I have actually no idea. It could be frickin' Kurt's frickin' underarm juice for all I know. But this stuff is worth its weight in gold. So this is what's going to get the card shiny again. You know, these older cards been sitting in binders and getting tossed around everywhere. The weathering, all that kind of stuff. It's just makes the card look dull, especially coming in and out of binders all the time or whatever. This right here is just absolutely works magic. So there's a lot of like tiny scratches on this Zard here. So you can see there's a lot of scratches going left and right here, which this isn't going to completely remove it, but it's going to make it look a hell of a lot better. So let me start working on it here. So I'm not pushing hard, okay? I'm just doing small circles. And let's get a little bit more polish on there. We don't want huge blobs of polish. We just want to coat the thing enough in polish. And you want to clean up the polish pretty quickly. We don't want to let the polish sit on here for very long, because the polish will freeze up. If that does happen to you, then just put more polish on top of it. Do not try to like clean up the dry polish. Just put more wet polish on top, and then it will loosen up that polish, and then you can clean it. So we're going to take a clean side of this rag. I'm going to put my finger here through it and wrap it around. So we kind of have a clean part here. And then I'm just going to swipe up on it like that. Not pushing hard. Just a nice little grip. I'm then going to find a clean part of the rag here again and do the same thing. Could just be my bias, but wow, I definitely does seem to be popping a little bit more. And then I'm gonna get the bottom of the card as well. I mean, you don't need to just hit the hollow with this stuff. Hitting the whole card surface, since all Pokemon cards are pretty much like coated with a clear coat of some sorts. I'm gonna take a penny sleeve here. I'm just gonna put it on top there so I'm not scratching that with my dirty little paws. You can see some, and after we clean it, we're gonna want to make sure that we didn't leave any residue behind. PSA will catch that, and that will hurt your grade, and we don't want that. So all right, fantastic. So I think we did pretty good so far. There are some dots here in the corner that I'm curious if we can clean up. So I might hit that. It looks like most of all the residue's gone. Maybe I'm gonna hit that top once, just because I see some little like something scummy going on there. It might be the card polish, it might just be the card. But let's go ahead and use the spray on the cotton swab again here to attempt to clean this up. All right, cool. Well, that does that for the front. Now let's go ahead and take one more good look at them. Now for whatever the hell's going on in the back here. Because again, there's something on the actual Pokeball there. I'm gonna try to use a card spray on that. There's some dots. There's a dot there, but I think that's an ink dot. So I don't think we can do anything about that. And then there's like some like scum and just dullness around. So the card spray and the polish should take care of that. These creases here is what's going to be the challenge. Now, one thing about the card spray in this, with the back of the cards, given the whiteness and all this kind of stuff, you want to be really careful. And what I mean by that is, again, never spray the card spray directly on the card, okay? It will work on the front of the card sometimes, with a certain trick where you can just put a dot of this stuff to try to lift up a crease or something like that from the front. But that's usually because it's not the straight paper. There's like a hollow and like a almost wax type coating. But the backs here, the paper portion of the card is a lot more exposed. So we have to be really careful as far as exposing this to direct moisture, and that's why we never spray the card directly. We also need to be really careful when we're working on the edges here. When we're using this, we don't want to be rubbing up and down on this. We want to be rubbing out, right? And even then, when we get to the close to the edge of the borders here, you know, I like to try to stay away from the very edge and also not like completely soak this thing. It's going to be just barely damp sort of thing, right? So working from the middle and working our way out is probably going to be the way to go here. Just going to try to dry it here. I don't want that, you know, stuff soaking on here, because what tends to happen is the edges start to come up, and then you have more damage that you gotta work through. With the card spray, again, it evaporates. So certain things, like when it gets in between the card like this, don't mess with the card. Something I just want to highlight here real quick. Take a look at the top and bottom of this card. So see how much duller it is at the bottom, and then how clean it is at the top. So it's like clean, and then you can just see the weathering on it, and this just like makes it pop so much more. Another thing with the card polish, sometimes the card polish just ends up sticking on there on the edge there, but we'll get that off at the end. Okay. think that does it for the cleaning part of this. Now the card's looking a lot better. However, there obviously is still creasing and stuff, so we're gonna have to try and work on that. That's the hard part. So before we, I think what I'm gonna try to do on this one is I'm gonna try to use the pen tool from the kit. This basically has a hard tip here at the end, and we're not going to put the pen directly on here. We're going to use a hard surface, and then we're going to work the corners that we see have been bent up, and then there's a couple of creases here. Let's zoom in here. So there's a crease right here. There's a crease right here, and then this ding right here. As well as this bottom corner has a slight ding to it as well. So those are the ones we're going to try to work on. So what we're going to do first is we're going to try to push those down, then we'll put it in the humidifier, work them a little more, put it in the humidifier one more time, work them a little more, and then we're going to put it into our flattening thing. So the trick to this really is trying to figure out how the crease happened and then trying to work out the opposite of how it happened. I'm pushing down and I'm pushing outward. I'm not pushing back in. I'm not going back this way, I'm only going outward. So this one is better. I've got a lot of creasing down here. I've got a softer pen that I'm going to use for that, but you can hold on to the tip here for a while and that'll soften this thing up. But this thing's pretty sturdy. If you use yours enough, it'll be a little more flexible. So again, you know, buy a couple of kits off of me and wear one down by just using it a lot. Roll it around and stuff like that and loosen one up, and then have a pen that's loose and a pen that's hard, because it's nice having both. I like to roll back and forth like that. Like however the crease happened, I'm trying to push the empty space back in or whatever, right? Same thing with this one. I think that's just straight up gone. This one this corner got completely. These two creases that we just worked on just now are a little bit better. Minor creases up there we can try to attempt to fix too. And these ones, we're gonna just hope that a session in the humidifier helps this one here. All right, so it's been sitting in here for about 15 minutes or so. We'll give it one more round after this, but I want to just take it out real quick and give it a whirl with the pen to see if we can get rid of some of these creases here. This one's a lot less noticeable here, but this one is being real stubborn. So when we put this in the flat iron, we're definitely going to try to hit it on that spot. I'm going to try to clean up the tops here. Unfortunately, I think it's somewhat of a paint issue on some of this stuff too. So there and there. I think it needs to sit in the pressure cooker a little longer. And this edge right here, let's work on that part. I haven't worked on that one yet. And now that corner looks a lot better. It was definitely bent up a hell of a lot more. That corner looks a lot better. All right, so this is about 15 minutes of working on these. You can see there's still obviously a crease there. So I probably got to let this thing sit in the humidifier a little longer, just because I feel like this card's really dry. These ones look a little bit better. The surface ones, I've never really worked on this sort of issue before, but if you look really closely, there are almost what seems to be like the paint coming up off of the card. I believe that's just like cracked. And unfortunately, I don't think there's much I can do about that. If I keep working on it too much, I might start taking some of the paint off. So there's just some things I think that are better left alone. Anytime you're working on a card, the less you do, the better, right? We don't want to over clean or overdo anything, especially with a case like this. Unfortunately, I don't really know how to replicate that, but I would really want to play around with something like that first on a base card before I really put too much into that and damage this card. We don't want to damage Mr. Zard. So, but I think the corners are looking a lot better. This one definitely looks better. This one, however, I think it definitely looks better. The problem is some of the paper is just exposed. There's no paint like actually holding it at this point. So the card is just naturally expanding there. But maybe some time in the pressure cooker will help hold that down. I'm hoping that it will help with these creases as well. So I'm gonna put it in the vise and let's see what it looks like tomorrow. All right, so I put it in the pressure cooker here, and the vices that I really like I put on top of where those creases are. So I clamped the crap down on this thing as hard as I could, pretty much. It's not going to hurt the card at all because it's between two sleeves. So I have a soft sleeve underneath and a soft sleeve on top. Got the Charizard sitting in the pressure cooker here, so I'm going to pop it out. And let's take a look at those creases now. So here's the Zard. Let's pop a bad baby out. Come on. No more creases. Say no more creases. All right, and the grand finale. Wow, not bad, not bad. All right, so here it is. Definitely the polish has made this thing look a hell of a lot better. We're just gonna take a look over it and make sure that there's no other like spots that accidentally crept up on this that maybe we need to clean up. There might be a little dot there right under the unintentionally. Maybe we want to hit it one more time with the polish, but I don't think it really needs it. I think it looks really good as it is. I think a lot of this sort of stuff is just surface damage. There's a lot of dots here that aren't actually gunk. They're actually just the paint that's rubbed off from play use. So make sure, especially if it's a hollow, just put it under light. And you could quickly tell if it's silver and reflecting back that that's the paint that's chipped. Same thing like here at the top. We had a couple of dots here. Those got cleaned off. And the only crappy part is this corner we can't do anything about. I mean, that one is just beyond no return. That is a silver portion of the card, so the paint's just completely gone there. So here on the back is really where the magic happened. So to really highlight what we did here, on this side of the card over here, there were two really bad creases right here and right here, and you can still somewhat see them, but as you can tell, they're a hell of a lot harder to notice than before. So again, the way that we did that is humidity, using the pen tool that you can buy from my online store, and just going along and rubbing that and really working out that crease as much as you possibly can. And then the last step after that is vice grip. Just to speak a little bit about the part where it actually sits in the acrylic, when you put it in this, do not put it in here raw, okay? You're gonna want a penny sleeve before you put it in here. Otherwise, this card's gonna get scratched up in here. So either a penny sleeve on top and bottom, or just put it in a penny sleeve, which is what I did last night. I did both. The first round on this one, I did penny sleeve top and bottom. And then on the other one, I did a penny sleeve, just put it in a penny sleeve. I can say that probably putting it in a penny sleeve is completely fine and the way to go maybe. But other than that, I think this card is at its max cleanage. I don't know if we can get any better on this one. So I think that's about it. Maybe I'll hit it with the polish just a little bit on a couple of spots here. But other than that, that's good to go. So again, that's how you fix creases. You can see here, the creases here at the top that were here are now completely gone. So that is a super win, because originally we had some really bad creases here at the top, and those are now not even noticeable anymore. And then same here with the surface. There was some really bad surface creases here originally, and you can still kind of see them there on the bottom of that Pokeball, but there's nothing we can do about that. I mean, that is beyond the point of no return there, unfortunately. So we're just going to have to accept the fact that that's what that looks like. Just be careful with the pen tool. I mean, sometimes if you're not doing this in a penny sleeve, which you never really want to be touching the surface of the card directly with the rolling pen, you will damage this card. So it's really important you put this in a penny sleeve, and then you put another penny sleeve on top to use to work out any creases or things like that. So again, I mean, you're not going to completely get rid of them. Sometimes the way that these creases happen, it's just beyond the point of no return. You can sit there and roll the pen till you're blue in the face, and they're just not going to go away. However, you can get them to be less noticeable, like in this case. So these ones were really bad. You could see them like it's day and night compared to where it was. Now, obviously, a detailed oriented person is going to notice that this card does have some dents there. But I have had cases where there were creases and they've been completely gone away. For example, these ones here at the top, just the way that those creases happen, they're gone now. And again, I'm not quite sure. It's just how the crease happens, probably, that you can actually work out the crease to be completely gone. But in these cases of these big creases here, those are just unfortunately going to stick to the card and Maybe you could keep doing this over and over and over to the point to where it does look better. The problem is that sometimes the paint has completely chipped. So like in the case of this one, it's still popping up a little bit, and I think it's because of some of that missing paint there. And that missing paint is just pushing that crease up. So air is getting underneath it or something like that, where it's just probably not going to go down because of that missing paint. And same thing here, there's you know, some surface wear there that I think that's just causing that to still come up. So anyway, I think that's it for this video. So thanks again. Share this video, ask me questions. I will be doing more crease videos, especially like worse creases than this one. This one was pretty mild in comparison to some of the photos I've gotten of other people's cards. So I'll cover those in a little bit, but the process is going to be the same when it comes down to it. So I don't think necessarily anything new is going to be learned out of there. It's just more on the lines of experimenting with a full crease versus just an edge crease like this. All right, thanks very much, and see you later, Poke Fam. Bye.